Can your pricing strategy just walk out the door and leave you? Do you have that one key person who always knows the right price for every sales situation? Many businesses operate in this way, especially if founders are still around or if their families are now running the business. Those who have spent years in front of clients and prospects, understanding their wants and needs, you know when they need you for advice, you know what the challenges are, you know if they're in a hurry to buy right now or if they're just shopping around in the market. This kind of pricing or pricing knowledge is sometimes referred to as tribal pricing. Tribal pricing is where you have key storytellers who help shape the view and knowledge of the whole sales organization. They tell war stories of when a deal was lost due to a silly mistake or when it was won by just discounting a little bit further. This kind of tribal pricing is vital to the growth and development of early stage businesses, but what worked then might not work now. I want to talk you through some of the pros and cons of tribal pricing so that you have all the information you need to decide whether it's still the right approach for you or if you need to look at something else for the future. So there is a time and a place for tribal pricing, and the best reason for tribal pricing is that it's free. There's no software, there's no configuration and no technology of any kind required for this type of pricing. The ease of use and the lack of maintenance is one of the main reasons why it's so prevalent still in B2B markets now. Businesses of all different shapes and sizes still use tribal pricing to price up their deals, ranging from small firms just getting going to large multinational organizations. When you offer a small portfolio of products or services, it can make perfect sense to do this. Your sales team are constantly out in the market, get your handle on what your customers' fears, challenges, problems are, and they can help really shape your understanding of your market and the needs that are out there. But what happens when that deal needs to be closed but the key people aren't around? What happens if you expand further and rather than a handful of products you now have thousands of products? Or what if they retire, or even worse, they leave and go to a competitor? Your whole pricing knowledge and insight has just walked out the door. So some of the challenges around tribal pricing are obviously key personnel unfortunately don't last forever. And if you don't find a way to store and harness this information, eventually one way or another you will lose it. Yes, you can train someone up to replace them and manage it in a similar way, but will they have the same commission structure? Will they act in the same way? No matter the training you give them, it's almost guaranteed the choices they make won't be exactly the same. And you may see some positive change, you may not. So maybe if you think a little bit more short term than that and think about what are the costs now rather than 10 years down the line when we're looking at retirement or whatever of our founders. So what's the opportunity cost of tribal pricing now? Well, this is where it comes down to understanding your information, your data, and your clients. So could you increase your price by 1% and still be okay? Could you make small adjustments to your pricing and still close that deal so your customers are still happy, your sales team is still happy, but your business is just that bit more profitable? These questions are notoriously difficult to answer if pricing is based on feel of a few key people. This is where quantitative data and insight and analysis can be far better for these types of situations. So clearly tribal pricing has its place. It has some significant power and can make a big difference to your business. But clearly there are some challenges too, the things that can be improved upon and built upon. So how can we harness this information to maximize the benefit and reduce some of the risk attached to it? So this is where analysis and the tribal knowledge can combine. So what we'd do is, or what you should do, is speak with your sales team. Speak with the sales leaders. What do they think moves the market? Could it be the size of an order? Could it be the size of the client, or maybe the area that their client operates in? These are all potential variables that can help move your price. Once you have a list of a dozen or so different variables and attributes, this is where you need to put the theories to the test. Often there are stories that have come through which are based on one or two transactions rather than a general theme. So what's key now is to use your data and really start to test those theories and see if they really do make a big difference to the price, or if it's a one-off transaction that has just stayed in someone's memory. So once you have these variables and factors that you've proven either do or do not move your market, you know some of the key things that move the prices. So now you can start to look at segments of your data, so the order size for a particular area of the country and things like that, and start to look at these very small sections of your total market and understand, okay, there are outliers there. Why are they there? Can we adjust here? So these outliers will usually be a source of massive immediate profit. It's usually a deal that was done slightly too low, slightly too high, or something has happened to push it outside normal range, and then you can immediately adapt for that and correct that behavior, usually finding some significant immediate return on your investment. You may also find that there are unexplained trends in the data at this point. This probably just means that there are additional factors that are moving your markets and moving your prices. So that gives you additional view to go have a look into those and find out what additional information you can give to your sales team to help them price even better in the market as they go forward. If you're working with a handful of products, this is doable in Excel. As you go beyond a handful, maybe over 100, it will start to get more challenging. It's definitely worth doing, but it will definitely become more challenging as you go over 100, over 1,000, and over and beyond there. At this point, it's definitely worthwhile looking at third-party resource if you don't feel you have it already in the company. This is where working with a partner such as LJR Systems can help you churn through this data, really understand what's moving your prices, and help you capitalize that on the future.